She walked into that school every morning with her head down, her books pressed to her chest, and a secret so heavy it was slowly killing her. Everyone called her the quiet one, the good girl, the brilliant student. But nobody, not one single person, stopped to ask why the light had gone out of her eyes.
Zainab, this is unacceptable. Look at me when I speak to you. You will face the consequences.
Today, I'm going to tell you the story of Zainab. A story of betrayal by the very person trusted to protect her. A story of shame heaped onto the wrong shoulders. A story of a girl who lost everything and then found something even greater than what she lost.
Zainab! How could you bring such shame to this family? Look at your mother!
Stay with me, because this one will shake something inside you. Before we begin, if you're new here, welcome to Tales by RM, the home of powerful African stories that move you, teach you, and stay with you long after the screen goes dark. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring that notification bell so you never miss a story. Now, let us begin. The Incident and Expulsion. Queen Amina Girls College was the kind of school that parents sacrificed everything to get their daughters into. The kind of school where the walls were painted white, the floors were swept twice a day, and the reputation of the institution mattered more than almost anything else inside it. Zainab was one of his brightest students, 14 years old, sharp mind, gentle spirit, the kind of girl teachers pointed to when they wanted to show parents what a good student looked like. She had dreams, real, burning, alive dreams of becoming a doctor one day. But on one ordinary Tuesday morning, during the morning assembly, as 600 girls stood in neat rows under the open sky, Zainab collapsed. At first, the girls around her thought she had fainted from the heat, but then she threw up right there in front of everyone. The vice principal rushed over, 2 teachers lifted her up, and somewhere in the chaos, one of the older, experienced teachers looked at Zainab, really looked at her, and her face changed. Within the hour, Zainab was sitting in the principal's office. The door was locked, the blinds were drawn, and the questions began.
Zainab, this is unacceptable. Look at me when I speak to you. You will face the consequences.
The principal's voice was not kind. It was sharp, controlled, the kind of voice that had decided the verdict before the trial even began. Who is responsible? She demanded. Zainab sat there, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes on the floor. She wanted to speak. She wanted to scream the truth so loudly that the whole school would hear it. But she couldn't, because the name sitting on the tip of her tongue was not the name of a fellow student. It was not someone she had met at a party or a boy from a neighboring school. The name was Mr. Karim. Mr. Karim, the teacher that every parent trusted, the one who stayed late for extra lessons, the one who wrote recommendation letters, the one who sat at the high table during prize giving day with a warm, respected smile. Zainab said his name. She knew they would not believe her. She knew they would say she was lying. She knew they would say she had seduced him, tempted him, ruined a good man's life. She had seen it happen before. She had heard the whispers about another girl, a girl who had spoken up 2 years ago, and how that girl was called names that no child should ever be called. So Zainab stayed silent. The principal did not search for the truth. She did not call a counselor. She did not involve Zainab's parents in a conversation. The family voiced. She did what institutions like that school have always done when a girl's pain becomes inconvenient. She expelled her, effective immediately. Zainab walked out of that school gate that afternoon carrying nothing but her shame and her secret. And the man who had done this to her, he stood in the staff room and watched her go.
There are words that can break a person, not because they are loud, but because they come from the mouths of the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. Zainab's father was a proud man, A man who had worked overtime for years just to pay her school fees. A man who had told everyone in the neighborhood, the barber, the mechanic, the women at the market, that his daughter was going to be a doctor someday. When she walked through their door that afternoon and he saw the look on her face, something in him broke. He did not ask what happened. He did not sit down and hold her hands and say, "Talk to me, my daughter." He shouted,
Zainab, how could you bring such shame to this family? Look at your mother.
He called her names that I will not repeat. He said she had disgraced the family. He said she had taken everything he had sacrificed and thrown it in the mud. Her mother wept in the corner of the room, her wrapper pressed to her mouth, her body shaking with grief she didn't know what to do with. From that day, Zainab lived in a prison that had no bars. She was confined to the house. She was not allowed to step outside, not even to sit on the veranda. The neighbors already knew, because in communities like theirs, bad news traveled faster than good news ever could. She could hear them sometimes, through the thin walls and the open louvers, the women discussing her, the men shaking their heads, the children repeating the adult words they had overheard, not fully understanding them, but knowing they were meant to wound. That Zainab girl, imagine, after everything her poor father did for her. She lay in her room at night, one hand resting on the small growing curve of her belly, and she stared at the ceiling. She was 14 years old, and she felt completely, utterly alone. But the worst part, the part that kept her awake long after the compound had gone quiet, was the knowledge that the man responsible was still there, still writing on blackboards, still marking registers, still being greeted with "Good morning, sir" by hundreds of young girls who had no idea what he was capable of. And she had said nothing. She told herself it was to protect herself. But deep down, in the part of her soul she tried not to visit, she knew she was also protecting him. If this story is already gripping you, and I know it is, please take just 2 seconds to hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube to share this story with more people who need to hear it. We are Tales by RM, and we tell the stories that matter. Now back to Zainab.
Oh, weeks passed. The kind of weeks that feel like months when you are living them. The kind of weeks where every morning feels like a punishment and every night feels like a holding cell. Then one afternoon, Zainab's younger cousin came to visit. Her name was Fatina, 11 years old, bright-eyed, completely unaware of the storm she had walked into. She chatted about school the way children do, freely, without filter. She talked about her subjects, her friends, the food in the canteen, and then she said a name. "Cousin Zainab, do you know Mr. Karim? He's my favorite teacher. He's so nice. He even started extra lessons for the older girls on Saturdays." Sharp inhale. Zainab felt the room tilt. She gripped the edge of the bed with both hands. Emotional, she smiled somehow and changed the subject, but that name rang inside her chest like a warning bell that would not stop. Saturday extra lessons for older girls. The second time Fatima visited, the news was different. Her cousin lowered her voice in the way children do when they have overheard something serious and don't fully understand it. She said one of the senior girls, a girl in SS2, had been crying every day, that she had told her best friend that the teacher had been touching her and threatening her, that she was terrified to speak. Zainab went very still. She knew. Without being told the teacher's name, she already knew. Something happened inside her that day that she could not explain and could not stop. Something shifted. She asked Fatima for the girl's name. She found a way to get a message to her. They met in secret, two terrified girls on opposite sides of the same nightmare, and they confirmed what Zainab had already known in her bones. It was Mr. Karim. And in that meeting, sitting in the dim corner of a neighbor's compound, with their voices barely above a whisper, something crystallized in Zainab's mind with a clarity she had not felt in months. Her silence was not protecting her. Her silence had never been protecting her. Her silence was protecting him, and he was still haunting.
Zainab was 14 years old. She had no lawyer, no adult ally, no institution standing behind her. But she had something that Mr. Karim had never anticipated. She had a mind that still worked, and she had nothing left to lose. She started writing. Late at night, long after her parents had gone to sleep, she wrote in a notebook she hid inside the lining of her mattress. She wrote everything, every date she could remember, every threat he had whispered, every time he had made her feel like her voice did not belong to her. She wrote it with shaking hands and burning eyes and a fury that had been quietly building for months under all that silence and shame. And then she reached out to the girl from the school. Together, over the following weeks, they became investigators, moving carefully, speaking in whispers, meeting in places where they would not be noticed. They found 2 other girls who had been targeted by the same man, who had been carrying the same secret, who had been surviving on the same isolated, agonizing silence. And when those girls finally heard that they were not alone, when they looked into Zainab's eyes and understood that someone else knew what they had been through, they cried, the kind of crying that comes when a burden you have carried alone for too long is finally shared. The notebook grew thicker. Dates, names, specific incidents, threats he had used, promises he had made, the exact words he had said to ensure their silence. All of it written down in 4 different handwritings on pages that trembled slightly because the hands that wrote them had trembled. Zainab looked at that notebook one night and felt something she had not felt in a very, very long time. Power.
The morning they chose to return to the school was a Wednesday. Early, before the assembly bell, Zainab had told her mother she was visiting a friend. She had tucked the notebook under her arm beneath her wrapper. Her heart was hammering so loudly she was certain the girl walking beside her could hear it. But her steps did not slow. There was one teacher, Mrs. Adaize, who had always been different from the rest. A woman who had, on more than one occasion, looked at the girls with the eyes of someone who suspected something was very wrong, but had never had the evidence or the courage to act. They found her in her classroom, alone, preparing notes before the school day began. Zainab did not ask for permission. She placed the notebook on the desk in front of her. And then she spoke. She spoke for the first time without stopping to swallow her words, without looking at the floor, without calculating what would happen to her. She just spoke. Mrs. Adaize listened. She did not interrupt. She did not look away. When Zainab finished, the teacher sat very still for a moment, and then she reached across the desk and put her hand over Zainab's. "I am so sorry," she said. "I am so deeply, deeply sorry that this happened to you." It was the first time any adult had said those words to Zainab. She almost came undone right there. But before Mrs. Adaize could say anything more, the door opened. Mr. Karim stood in the doorway. His eyes swept the room. He saw the notebook on the desk. He saw the girls, and his face, the face that had smiled so warmly at prize-giving days and parent meetings, went very, very still. He stepped into the room. "What is this?" he said, his voice low and cold. "What lies are you spreading now?" Mrs. Adaize stood up. She did not shout. She did not raise her voice. She simply placed herself between Mr. Karim and the girls, spread her arms slightly, and said 7 words that echoed in that classroom like thunder. "You will not speak to them. Step back." What followed moved quickly. Mrs. Adaize took the notebook and went directly to the principal's office. This time, there were 4 testimonies, documented, dated, detailed. This time, the school could not make it go away with a quiet expulsion and a locked door. The evidence was undeniable. By midday, Mr. Karim had been removed from his classroom. He was brought out before the school, before the very girls he had spent years preying upon and silencing, and walked off the premises. No warm farewell, no handshake, no dignified exit. By evening, the police had been contacted. The case was filed. Zainab walked home that afternoon. The same streets he had walked in shame weeks before. But something was different. Her head was up. Not because everything was fixed, not because the pregnancy was gone or the gossip had stopped or her father had suddenly understood, but because she had done the thing that had felt impossible. She had spoken. She had taken the darkest, most terrifying secret of her life and she had said no more. She had protected girls she didn't even know, girls who would never fully understand what her silence and her courage in finally breaking it had cost her. She put one hand on her belly as she walked. She didn't know yet what her future looked like. There were still hard days ahead, harder even than the ones she had already survived. But she was still here, still thinking, still fighting, still Zainab.
I want to say something before we end. This story is not just a story. This is the reality that too many girls are living right now, in schools, in homes, in silence. There are girls who have been made to believe that their pain is their shame, that their truth is too dangerous to speak. There are men in positions of trust and power who are counting on that silence to protect them. Zainab's story is a reminder that silence, no matter how heavy it is to carry, can be broken. That one voice can become two, and two can become four, and four can become a notebook full of undeniable truth. And that truth, when it finally reaches the right hands, cannot be ignored.
If you know someone carrying a secret like Zainab's, be the Mrs. Adeze in their story. Stand in front of them. Listen without judgment. Believe them. It costs nothing, and it changes everything.
If this story moved you, and I believe it did, please subscribe to Tales by RM right now. Every week, we bring you powerful, emotional, deeply human African stories that deserve to be told. Hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, drop a comment below telling me what part of Zainab's story hit you the hardest. Your words matter. Your support keeps these stories alive. This is Tales by RM, and until next time, stay strong, stay human, and never stop listening.